Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Indonesia, and Om Swastiastu. Welcome to our Institute of Global Professionals free webinar. Thanks for joining with us in this wonderful evening and stay with us till the end. The Honorable Mr. Mark Rostam Valentin as the keynote speaker today, the Honorable Alaf Committee's Institute of Global Professionals, and my beloved ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let us pray and praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala because of His grace and mercy we can join together and let us greet and pray to our beloved Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who had brought us to the path of light. I am Windy Puspitasari Suparto from Indonesia as a host webinar today and a member of Institute Global Professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know that Institute of Global Professional is an educational institution programmed to provide social work. We believe that Institute Global Professionals serve students and community resource, providing holistic social work and education for create a proficient generations. So we expect that you all getting a little bit in a benefit in a personal and professional life. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's join us for the international webinar 287 entitled Trends and Innovations in Mathematics Education Part 4 from Mr. Mark Rustam C. Valentin from Philippines. So, ladies and gentlemen, his background, Mr. Mark Rustam C. Valentin, he is from Philippines. He is teacher to positions at Pada National High School, Department of Education, Philippines. He is Doctor of Philosophy, Research Coordinator, and Divisions Education Research Council. So we invite Mr. Mark Rostam C. Valentin. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Mark. Hello, Mr.
My respect and greetings to you all the way from the Philippines.
Okay, hello, sir. So, it's time for your presentations tonight, and
Okay, ma'am. I hope I am heard loud and clear. Kindly give me a cue. Okay, so let me continue. Hello. Once again, I am here in this online international platform, the
hello,
IGP.
sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Good luck.
Okay. Hello once again. Um, I am here in this online international platform, the IGP. Thank you for allowing me again to discuss something which is close to my heart as a professional teacher. This is actually my third speakership here in IGP, and it feels the same old way. The nerves and the cold feet are still here. But more than that, I am happy, and I'll be talking on trends and innovations on mathematics education. Again, I am Sir Mark Rostam C. Valentin, all the way from the Philippines. To be exact, I currently live at the province of Tarlac, and I serve the Department of Education here in our province as a professional teacher with a Teacher 2 post. I already finished my master's degree in education, specializing in mathematics, and currently taking up my PhD course in educational leadership and management. And as a teacher, I uh, I often handle classes for math like general mathematics and statistics and probability, and research classes as well for senior high school students. I am also taking up space on innovations and educational researches, as I make some actively each year. And I even had opportunities to join leagues of consultants and statisticians for researches. And I could say I get joy on doing these undertakings. And also some hobbies that makes us more busy on a day and night basis is our speakership engagements. Just like tonight, it just feels so well to be trusted again to gauge on delivering talks on math education. My respect also is extended with deep gratitude to people behind the approval of my presence here tonight in IGP, to Sir Kaushik Data, and our moderator. Thank you so much. Ma'am Windy, thank you so much again for the opportunity. To our local leaders from the Philippines, let me extend my greetings and respect, of course, to our Regional Education Program Supervisor in Math, Dr. Nestor Nuesca, and to our SDS, Interlock Province, Dr. Ronaldo A. Pozon, and our Education Program Supervisor in Mathematics in the province, Sir Augusto L. Ballesteros, my principal, of course, Ma'am Wilma Domingo, and my head teacher, Six, who are very supportive in every endeavor I take, Ma'am Susan S. De Jesus, and of course, my mentor, our team leader for this webinar series, Sir Reden B. Tabamo. As for tonight's session here in IGP, let's just have some casual talks on the following topics. And as a continuation of the 5-day webinar series, and for this night, we are already on the part 4 of the series. So for my agenda, I included issues in mathematics teaching, the strategies and innovation, how technology can facilitate, and let's try to explore a bit of the SPSS. And the fifth topic I'm going to share to you is the blending your own class. I would love to start by throwing out this question. What are the problems with the traditional way of teaching mathematics? What's with the old school mathematics education? Why many learners feel the hate on this subject? The way math is traditionally taught reinforces the idea that it is an innate talent or intelligence. Traditional math teaching is a teacher centered culture. Before, it is believed that the natural skill on mathematics is innate from the students. That is why the the mentality holds that if you have low level of skills in mathematics, it lasts forever. It is believed that as if there is no cure or solution for that note. That is why teachers won't make extra efforts for those who are lagging. They just teach and teach everything. And the mark is whoever surpass the activities and assessments given by the teacher deserves to pass the subject. In the old school model, the dominant assumption is that kids need to learn all the math facts without even being engaged on the discussion. With this, many students disengage from learning mathematics. Why? For many existing relatively trivial issues, just like one, students' attitude and personal skills. Two, the school experiences we provide them, including the achievement they get. And three, home and community situation. These are factors why these students disengage themselves on learning mathematics. Let's go to the first factor I said, the student's attitude and personal skills. Students' attitude and personal skills really become a factor because of the embedded sense of failure impacted negatively on their motivation to learn. If you worry on failing, that becomes your mindset and that what comes into reality. On school experiences, this is definitely a great factor because learners who don't find excitement in entering the class would not be expected to perform well. They become disengaged because they choose to settle for what is worth entering the school for them. And that is heartbreaking on our part as teachers to find out that students lose their interest in our own classes. On the third factor, I said a while ago, the home and community situation, this also contributes as well on why students choose to disengage themselves in our math class. Those from socially deprived areas were less likely to develop ambitious and achievable aspirations. Also, those who are having family problems can give their 100% in their class engagement because they feel they have other problems to deal with. These are just some of the reasons, but what I really find to be lacking on math education, why students disengage themselves from learning, is the lack of personal touch in the delivery of teaching and the application of a one size fits all approach to the learners. Let us get away from this approach because one size does not fit all in this time of 21st century education. Learning should get personalized because children does not have the same learning styles, level of motivation and skills. Learning should be relatable. That is why the education lexicon had introduced as the terms that is more acceptable to us, which are individualized instruction, contextualization, and localization. Let us give our students a relatable learning experience where they can connect the subject matter content to real world situations and motivating students to make connections between knowledge and its applications to their lives. Learning occurs when students process new information in such a way as to establish a connection to their own existing frame of reference. For example, if you are teaching conic sections in your math class, instead of just teaching the students how to solve the parts, let them apply how they understand the lessons through miniature makings and where they apply the shapes of these identified conic sections. That's how they can more appreciate the content and you may retain their level of engagement in your class because they experience novelty approaches. Here are the four pillars upon which the failure of math education rests. Pillar 1, the approach, not content, of math education is too abstract and decontextualized. Math education begins concretely but soon becomes abstract. It is tempting to think that math does not become abstract until students approach algebra and begin to use variables to represent quantities and equations to represent relationships. But that is not so. Math becomes abstract almost immediately. Sometimes, after counting, either before or just after meeting addition, we substitute symbols, the numerals for physical sets. Students need context. Not every child falls in love with every subject, but everyone knows kids who have fallen in love with the subject discovered in school and then pursued at home. When kids enter math class, they are transported to a place somewhere across the universe that has no connection to students' feelings, creativity, imagination, experience, lives, places, or planet. To fall in love with a subject means to develop a positive affective relationship to it. On Pillar 2, math education conveys rituals and procedures but not understanding. That's true. Rituals are customs and practices that we perform without question. In math class, there are techniques that were used even before, and so we don't question them anymore. Some rituals are universal among math students. These are the rituals that they learn implicitly from watching their math teachers who themselves learn the rituals from their own math teachers as well. They are nor incorrect as long as they do not deviate the way their teachers do it. But now, it is no longer like that. We allow our students to take up own approaches on how they solve a problem the best way they can. Just like in solving, if you always tell your students to solve the way you solve it, we are making them robots, not lifelong learners. If they prefer to do some shortcuts, allow them. Let us not cage them on the traditional way we have acquired our math skills. On Pillar 3, metacognitive activity is absent in math education. Metacognition is defined as um, cognition about cognition, right? So, metacognitive activities include a person monitoring his or her own approaches to learning and understanding, recognizing when he or she does not or does understand something, identifying her points of confusion, consciously altering her learning or problem solving strategies when he or she is stuck, unraveling the errors in her own thinking, deciding what kind of evidence to look for to convince himself or herself that something is true or not, and the like. No? In the context of problem solving, cognition focuses on solving a problem, and metacognition focuses on the process of solving a problem. So, for example, recalling information and ideas that may be helpful in solving a problem is a cognitive activity, while monitoring the progress and managing the process of solving a problem are metacognitive activities. On Pillar 4, sociolinguistic obstacles to success in mathematics. This includes problems on dominant cultures, speech and communication literacy, and also achievement gaps. Math curricula should avoid excessive jargon, clearly define the jargon they use, and be designed to minimize extraneous cognitive load by avoiding unnecessarily complex language and sentence structures when teaching mathematics to students. We must break the self-sustaining cycle of math education in which some small portion of the children taught by ineffective methods happen to succeed anyway and then grow up to become math teachers who use those same ineffective methods. Math demands creativity, collaboration, and discussion more than memorization, drills, and just hurrying to get the right answers. Teachers must stop teaching math as they learned it and be guided to and along a more effective path. Content, examples, and word problems must be meaningful, to be understood, and also to be remembered by the students. When contexts are rich enough for students to explore them and detailed enough to require thoughtful examination, then students are more likely to engage in the kind of deep processing that also promotes memory. Here's the revised Bloom's taxonomy. The revised Bloom's taxonomy categorizes thinking into six different levels: remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Actually, a repositioning happened comparing this revised on on the old one, because on the old Bloom's taxonomy, higher level thinking ends on the evaluation phase. But it is now a different thing for the revised Bloom's taxonomy. The highlight is on the creating process. It is important for us teachers to remember that as we move up to the taxonomy, the thinking skills proceed from lower order thinking skills or the lots to higher order thinking skills or the HATs. On creation level, let us allow our students in our math class to create something, to put elements together to form a coherent or functional whole. Some of the memorable and meaningful learning experiences we can provide in our math class are actually the following: cooperative learning, experiential learning, collaborative learning, immersive learning, the blended learning, and the problem based learning, as well as the inquiry based learning. Engage students before, during, and after the class. It's a math teacher's job to come up with innovative and creative ways to engage all students, even the disinterested ones. Students who find a lesson stimulating not only retain information better, but they may even develop a passion for math. It is important to engage them all throughout, not just before, not just during, not just after the class. Students should be engaged before, during, and after the class. Math education needs a makeover. Mathematics education really needs a makeover during this time of 21st century education. Most students do not believe that they will use what they are learning in math high school math ever again. To remedy this problem, a teacher needs to find a way to relate that they are teaching to the real world. When students can see that there is real life value to what is being taught, they are more apt to actually pay attention and get involved. Another way to ensure student interaction is to give them choices. Students can decide if they want to work in groups or by themselves. Students can pick problems to solve for homework and from a menu bank with a variety of problems. However, they are required to solve uh, uh, problems of a certain amount. Okay, this provides students with some freedom over what to practice. Whenever possible, teachers should involve props as well, okay, to demonstrate the formulas and methods they are teaching. Props will help our students with a variety of learning styles, such as visual, haptic, and kinesthetic. With math problems, there is usually a right answer and a wrong answer. This can make it difficult to promote engagement and discussion among students. A great way to engage students is to find math problems that may only have one answer but have more than one way to arrive at the answer. Let us start getting away from our conventional approaches. Different people learn in different ways. Learning is inherently an active process. Turn the passive to a very active setup in your math class. In most educational institutions and classrooms, the traditional lecture seems to be a predominant method used by teachers in disseminating content knowledge. However, in the last 10 years, there has been an increasing awareness of the need for more active learning in the classroom, since research findings actually revealed that active student involvement in the instructional process correlates significantly with student knowledge retention and achievement. Make your class more interesting, engaging, fun, yet effective. Here's the active learning continuum where you can see series of activities classified as simple up to the complex one. So we may even try the writing, starting with the simple one, followed by the pause for reflection. We may also try large group discussion, self-assessment, informal groups, think, pair, and share, triad groups, then peer review. As we go to the complex ones, we have the groups evaluations, brainstorming, case studies, interactive lecture, role playing in mathematics would also do, hands on technology, active review sessions, inquiry learning, jigsaw discussion, forum theater, and experiential learning. There are lots of methodologies, techniques we can apply in our math class to yield active learning from our classes, to make them engaged, to make them motivated in our class. Ideally, if we can combine the advantages of classroom teaching and e-learning, the learning effects will be enhanced and extended in a blended model. So we have the blending of F to F with technology. Teachers would be able to give instruction to individual students who encounter learning difficulties in class, while other students could work independently on the contents that, that require simple reasoning and memory or memorization. So students can achieve the aim of study only when they analyze, speculate, and explore problems independently to obtain options or alternative answers to questions. Through this new teaching method, teachers can guide students to progress steadily because self study and the attitude of independence are fundamental to the motivation for research and creativity. That's true. Owing to the rapid development of network techniques in recent years, many multimedia teaching platforms such as Moodle or Google Meet or all another software we can get from the or from online have been in use during this modern time. Blended learning is an approach that combines face-to-face instruction with technology, emphasizing customized learning. Because of recent advances in technology, traditional didactic teaching and online learning have been modified and gradually replaced by the blended learning. A blended learning uh, is a pedagogical approach that combines the effectiveness and socialization opportunities of the classroom with the technologically enhanced active learning possibilities to the online environment. A blended learning program is how it can be personalized to each student, improving areas where they are struggling and encouraging them in areas where they are flourishing as well. So, in mathematics education, many mathematicians actually acknowledge the value and importance of a blended learning in teaching mathematics, taking advantage of the different mathematical software that can be used in teaching already. Now, we also have the flexible learning, which provides opportunities to improve the student learning experience through flexibility in time, pace, mode of study, teaching approach, forms of assessment, and staffing. Flexibility in teaching of mathematics is understood as the ability to create more than one method of teaching, which allows to understand and master mathematics, taking into account the specific needs of the students and creating a learning environment that encourages thinking and effective work. Okay, these two, the blended and the flexible, really works better as a method of teaching mathematics. We can use them to enrich learning experiences, to optimize learning experiences, and to optimize student engagement as well. And to achieve deep, meaningful learning, these two approaches are really tested. Okay, to all-round flexible and adaptable teacher, uh, we become an effective teacher as we try to adapt to any teaching styles depending on the subject matter and other related variables, taking into consideration, of course. But let's try to be flexible and adaptable teachers. Be a teacher who can accommodate students' different learning styles and needs during this time of uh, continuously changing education paradigm we are experiencing. Okay, on students' engagement, In order to make our students engage in learning, let them become motivated. Notice that learners differ from one another. They come from diverse cultural backgrounds and they have a wide range of learning needs. We all know that. Learners also tend to vary significantly in the degree to which they are willing to engage in a self directed learning by comparison with learning under a close teacher guidance. So it's all about motivation. According to Eric Jensen, there is no such thing as an unmotivated student. There are, however, students in unmotivated states. This implies that instead of making students sit and listen passively to a lesson or reading a book without the benefit of activities that will enable the processing of information and metacognition, teachers need to involve students in doing things, extracting lessons from the activities, and thinking about what they are doing. Just like fun games, simulations, role play, introspection, and the use of the technological apps to help solve math problems. It says here motivation is a prerequisite for engagement, and engagement is a prerequisite for learning. Let us start rebuilding or awakening the students' motivation so that we can achieve active participation from them. Then learning shall take place naturally. Strengthening student engagement, what do students want and what really motivates them? Let's try to know it. Okay, so how do you know if the students are engaged? First, they are attracted to their work. Second, they persist in their work despite challenges and obstacles. And the third one, they take visible delight in accomplishing their work. According to the World Bank in 2020, when the pandemic starts to arise, we must capitalize on innovations and gather important lessons on the use of technology at this unprecedented scale to move to a new normal. However, if we think that since we are on the post pandemic new normal phase and this need for technological orientations is no longer necessary, then we are obviously wrong on that note because computer literacy is still part of the 21st century skills. We must obtain and pass on to the new generation of learners. So, that is the reason why we talk about blended and flexible learning, as well as motivation and engagement of the students to learning. As we go back to the schools for face to face, we need for technology integrated education. Okay, the need for technology integrated education remains because the transition is not that easy, and that the pandemic had brought positive effect an advantage on the exploration of the digital world. In fact, the pandemic had caused these people who are not used to in technologies and digital apps to become techno savvy within just 2 years. We can get good benefits from technologies if we still try to blend it to other strategies we use in our classrooms. However, the use of these technological resources will never replace our roles as teachers. So, time will never come that teachers will become irrelevant even during the 21st century education, where positive use of technology is even strengthened and intensified. And so, this webinar series on trends and innovations in mathematics, as you have witnessed since the day one, promotes positive use of many digital resources we can use in our math classes. The first speaker have talked on apps gazer, right? The second speaker talk about the different online apps we can use for assessment, such as the Kahoot, Quizzes, and Quizlet. Yesterday, a speaker talked on an innovation called chatbot using the many chats for Messenger. So a lot of innovations help the teachers now, and it is practical to use on this uh, because because of the trends that makes the learners become motivated and actively engaged in a class are are these tools. Okay, nowadays for tonight, I will just be having I think a bonus topic on a software which I want to discuss because I am using this in my statistics class and research class as well. So this is not actually a personal innovation, but I find it really useful, especially when we are solving statistical treatments and when we conduct hypothesis testing or analysis. So I don't claim any ownership of the said tool, but I could say I am an advocate since I am a statistician and research consultant. So I need this tool. So also I am introducing this to my students. I don't become selfish on that part that even the curriculum requires manual computations. I allow them. I allow them to use it for practicality and for checking of their answers. So this tool had already existed for 53 years and just continuously improved through different versions. So we have the SPSS. So what is SPSS? SPSS is the acronym for Statistical Package for the Social Science. It is a window-based program that can be used to perform data entry and analysis and to create tables and graphs. So it is a software package used for interactive or batched statistical analysis. So long produced by SPSS Incorporated. It was acquired by the IBM company in 2009. Why use SPSS? Compared to Excel, SPSS has better data management. Number two, it has wider range of options. And three, it has better output organization, unlike for Excel. Let's have some theoretical tutorial on how to use this SPSS. For tutorial 1, on starting SPSS session, let us try to identify first the different features as we try to open it. So for letter A, we have the main features. We should be familiar with the data view. This view allows you to view and input data values. The columns represent variables and the rows represent participants or subjects, often referred to as cases. Number two, we have another tab which is called the variable view. So this view allow you to edit variables and add new variables to the data set. So note that the rows represent each variable and corresponds to the columns in the data view. This is how the data view looks like when you open it. Okay. And this would be the variable view when you open the SPSS. Moving forward, on letter B, how do we create variables, okay, on SPSS? So to create variables on a blank, we should be familiar on these rules before proceeding on using the SPSS because there are some quite rules we need to follow when entering a word or an input or data on the variable view. So to create variables on a blank data file, select the variable view, of course. So give the variable a variable name. That's our rule. The name cannot start with a number. Take note of that. Nor can it have any spaces or symbols, just like as the symbols you can see on your screen in it. So except for the hyphen and the underscore, we can use them. But the rest of the other symbols, uh, it is restricted. Okay, give the variable a variable label as well. You can have more than 200 characters and you can use spaces and symbols when you use that variable label. In creating variables, select the appropriate level of measurement in the measure column. Of course, in statistics, we have the different levels of data named as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. But in SPSS, it recognizes only three types of data. Nominal is still considered nominal when you use SPSS. Ordinal are still considered ordinal in SPSS. But when you have interval and ratio uh, measurements or data in SPSS, it is considered as the scale. So most probably you will be much exposed with this word when you try to click on the tabs or on the variable view on SPSS. So it's more of the term scale. If the variable is a categorical variable, then you will need to define the value labels. On entering data, once the variables are named and the values labeled are already labeled, you can begin data entry. So in data view, you can go back there so that you can enter all your data. Simply select the cell, just like how we're using the Microsoft Excel. So we can make some inputs there. What are the needed data that you wanted the SPSS to solve on? So simply select the cell you want to begin with, type the appropriate value into that cell you want to enter it, and then either press enter or one of the direction arrow keys. Data can be corrected by selecting the desired cell and typing in the new value and pressing either enter or directional arrow key. So you can also copy data from MX Excel actually. So if you tried already entering your data in a Microsoft Excel and you want to use the SPSS, don't worry. SPSS accepts the copy paste of data from Microsoft Excel. It will just copy the way it is typed on Excel, then transferred into the data view of the SPSS. Let's continue on saving files. Just like the other programs in the laptop or desktop, we can save files for SPSS so that whenever you wanted to go back to your analysis or to your inputs or data, uh, the file is still there. So once you have your variables defined and perhaps some data entered, you should periodically save your file. So if you have imported your data from another program, do not. Okay, so overwrite your original file, make a new file, and save it as an SPSS data file. Uh, yes, with as an SPSS data file. Okay. Okay, tutorial 2 on generating descriptive statistics. So we are done familiarizing the different features. It's just easy. It's just like a Microsoft Excel. As long as you know how to enter data. However, we have another tab that I'm trying to tell you a while ago, which is the variable view. You need to establish all the rules first on that tab before you can enter your data in the data view. But if you already have all the data being input there on that data view, you can go proceed to the statistical analysis already. So on tutorial 2, if we try to generate descriptive statistics, which includes, for example, the frequency. So for we have the frequency command in the SPSS. So the SPSS will count for you. Will count the responses respectively so that you will not be counting the data manually. Same as true with your students. That's why we are trying to introduce this one to your students, especially when they're doing their research. They need also some practical uh, practices na we can share them so that their work will be facilitated as well. So the frequencies command can be used to determine quartiles, percentiles, measure of central tendency, which are the mean, median, and mode, measures of dispersion, all actually can be solved using the frequency command as well. So aside from the count, we can also ask for the following computations of these identified statistics. measures of kurtosis and skewness, and histograms. So all the percentage statistics are actually under descriptive statistics. So this tool is really powerful when generating descriptive statistics. However, they have the same features with the Microsoft Excel. I can say most of these things all presented. Statistical analysis on the frequency command can also be found on Excel. But let's try proceeding. Okay, if we try to explore the SPSS and try to look where the frequency command is located or placed, just click the Analyze button on top of the pane. You can see there different options again to choose what would you like to solve on. And of course, when you try to click the descriptive statistics, that reveals the frequency command. So if you try clicking the frequency command, you'll be able to see the following. Like what I told you a while ago, you can be able also to solve on quartiles, cut points, percentiles, mean, median, and mode, and the rest of the other descriptives as well. But the good thing about let me just continue. Okay. The good thing about this one, it has a separate command naman for descriptives. So for the descriptive command, this is similar to the frequency command, but with lesser options. You can go right away on asking the SPSS on what specific descriptive statistic would you like to it to perform. Okay, the command is found at analyze again, then you have there the descriptive statistics, then just click descriptives, then that's it, you're going to solve for the different descriptives, just like on this one. Okay, let me just go back, I think I saw something. Okay, so how do we locate descriptives on the SPSS? Still on the same tab, we have the analyze. Then just click descriptive statistics. Then you have a while ago I showed you the frequency. Right after the frequency, we have the descriptives. So right away you can be able to solve for uh, the different descriptive statistics such as mean, median, and mode. So I tried one. So as you can see, it solved the minimum, the maximum, the mean, and the standard deviation. Okay, so this is the result pane. So it will reveal the result done by the SPSS on a separate file. Okay, so continuing, tutorial 2, letter C on generating descriptive statistics. Part of the tool is that it can provide graphs. Uh, to customize your graphs, just open the graphs menu and select chart builder. That's how you produce graphs using SPSS. If you are familiar on how to create graphs using the Microsoft Excel, it's just the same. It's just that we have another term for this. You just need to click graph and then proceed with the chart builder. Then you will be able to produce graphs using SPSS. Okay, so we also try to obtain z-scores in normal distribution to describe, yes, z-scores are also used to describe, especially performances scores of students. So on SPSS, we can also obtain this one. Unlike for the Microsoft Excel, you can go directly having the z-score. Just go proceed to the command that is found on the analyze, then proceed to descriptive statistics, then proceed to descriptives. So in the descriptives window, just select the save standardized values as variables option, then drag the desired variable on the variable space, see figure below on how you're going to do it. Okay, so continuing, select OK and see the output window. Then select the descriptive statistics below, then go to data icon, see the results in the data view. And that's how it will provide you the z-scores as well. Okay, on many researches, especially on experimental, they try to look for one sample t-test or all researches that applies t-test because they would like to see differences on the means of the data gathered. So for the first one, we have the one sample t-test. SPSS can also perform this one. So if you would like to look for one sample t-test, it determines whether the sample mean you have one group is statistically different from a known or hypothesized population mean. So just employ one sample t-test. And how do you do that? Uh, on this note, on this figure, you can see we just need to click analyze, then go to compare means, then click. Sorry, I highlighted per sample t-test. But since we are talking about one sample t-test, just click one sample t-test on that matter. Okay, so we also have this one. So it will reveal the result, pane, and this would be the look of the results of a one sample t-test when SPSS is done computing for it. Okay, so another t-test I think is the independent samples t-test. Compares the means of two independent groups in order to determine whether there is statistical evidence that the associated population means are significantly different. So independent samples meaning you have two groups being compared. Of course, it's a different thing. That's why you need to click the right button as well. So you just need again to go to analyze, then compare means, then go to independent sample t-test if you want to compute for that. Another t-test is this one. The paired sample t-test compares two means that are from the same individual object or related units. So if you have a group of respondents, then you want to compare the before and after. Just like in students, if we have pre-test and post-test, we just tell your students that they need to use the paired samples t-test. And of course, when they try to explore the SPSS, just go to analyze, compare means, then just click the paired sample t-test. Okay, so this is an example of the result output of performed paired sample t-test in the SPSS. Okay, going further, of course, if we have t-test, we can also have the one-way ANOVA. So it compares the means of two or more independent groups. So we already have two or more groups in our trying to determine or comparing their means. So let's use one-way ANOVA. So when you try to explore SPSS and you look for one-way ANOVA, you go to analyze, then compare means, then you have there an option named one-way ANOVA. You just need to click that, and this one will show up. Okay. Kasi when you do one-way ANOVA, it will require your post hoc analysis as well. So you have options also for your post hoc. There is it. So when you have chosen one, which is the proper or appropriate one, you just need to click it, then click continue, then it will solve for you. That's the one-way ANOVA. Okay. So on tutorial 4, we'll be dealing on Pearson correlation. So SPSS can also do or perform correlation test, especially for bivariate data. So meaning to say we have two groups being correlated. Okay. So the bivariate Pearson correlation produces a sample correlation coefficient. That's the letter R. That's what really matters when we try to look for relationships, the value of R. It just ranges from -1 to 1, or sometimes they just say it ranges from 0 to 1. So if you do manual computation, it will take you a long run to do it because the formula is a complex one, especially the Pearson R. And we also have other correlation tests such as Spearman, Rho, and other options you can see in SPSS. Now, if you try to look for the SPSS, where can you find the correlation part? So as you can notice, it's just on the analyze button, part of the SPSS pane. Always go there for the analysis. So since we are on the correlation, just click correlation and then click bivariate. So when you click bivariate, this one will show up. It will ask you which data are you trying to correlate. Since on the screen you can see two columns of data, variable 0001 and variable 002. I need to click those two, then it will transfer on the right side, on the variable side. Then, as you can see, we have options for correlation test. What are you looking for? Correlation coefficient. Is it Pearson, Kendall's Taube, or Spearman? So you should also choose the right one. We have rules on that. Is it two-tailed or one-tailed? Then after clicking all that is necessary for the computation, just click OK. Then results will reveal. Okay, so chi-square can also be done using SPSS. So unlike uh, in Excel, this one provides you a more efficient way of solving the chi-square. Because chi-square requires tabular forms of your data first before being able to solve the value of the chi-square. Okay, so you can see here, if you have the raw data, each row is a subject. So you see to it that you have the data produced in columns that describe each respondent as the cases as numbered on the left side. So how do you solve chi-square on this note? So you just need to go on descriptive statistics, even though it's considered a correlational test at times. You can find this one at descriptive statistics. Then just go right away with the cross tab button. If you click that cross tab button, this one will be revealed. You need to enter your variables that will be tested. Then just click chi-square, then click continue, then that will be solved all the way. Cronbach alpha can also be solved by SPSS, wherein it is the most common measure of internal consistency or reliability. So it is most commonly used when you have multiple Likert questions in a survey or questionnaire that form a scale that you wish to determine if the scale is reliable. So if you want your learners to look for the reliability, the value of reliability of their instrument, let them ask them to do the Cronbach alpha or Cronbach's alpha using the SPSS. So there, by just one click or a matter of some clicks, the alpha value will be shown right away. Okay, so here's an example, just like a 10-item questionnaire with the Likert scale, 4-point Likert scale, identified as never to always. Cronbach Alpha is the best. So how do we do Cronbach's Alpha using the SPSS? Just click Analyze. Then instead of clicking descriptives, correlate, we go to scale when we try to look for reliability. So click the scale, then options will show. As you can see in the options, we have the first one, reliability analysis. Just click that first one, and this one will show up. So I already transferred the variables that will be tested for reliability. So once they are placed on the right side, the items being talked about or the instrument being tested, just click the alpha on that part on the model, then just click OK, then it will reveal a result for your alpha. So this one is an example of the result output produced by the SPSS in terms of Cronbach's alpha test. Okay, so that's it. I hope you learned something. I just tried to share my expertise on SPSS because I'm using it. Um I like what I'm trying to say a while ago. I don't claim any ownership. It's from the IBM. There are free softwares available over the internet, especially when you try to look for YouTube videos that show demonstration on how to use the SPSS. There are links on their description boxes where you can visit so that you can download or install at least some free or trial versions of the SPSS, because SPSS really uh, uh, are bought by people, especially by experts, if you want the premium or the pro one. Okay, so that's it. I hope you learned something. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope the mathematics teachers trying to listen to me, you learn something, and let's try to innovate things out. Let's try to make our mathematics class more enjoyable, and let's try to engage our learners because they need us as as their math teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Actually, after a long time, we meet again in this stream yard.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to hear you, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Actually, I'm just waiting for the from backstage. Just right now, I'm back again. Actually, we are very happy to have you here after a long time with the and even I think we have the another session tomorrow with you again.
yes, sir. I'll
With
be
the,
present on that day.
yeah,
Uh,
with the rest all speaker also.
my attendance in IGP, I owe it to Sir Reden, to to our regional supervisor, Sir Nestor, and also to you, Sir Kaushik. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And dear learners, tomorrow we have the overview session where you can see at the same time the four speaker which presented in the last 4 days, and we have a guest speaker also with Sir Redden. And tomorrow we have five speaker at the overview session, and definitely you will learn lots of from them. And for today, we don't have any quiz, so we will directly move for Q&A, and after Q&A we'll move for the certification process. I'm sorry for that, as you know that right now we don't have any certification process specifically because our website is not working well, because still our team members are doing the same because there's so much data in our website, so much data, so we have to optimize all the things. So that is the main problem right now. So again, sorry, but you don't need to think about that, which I promised to you. When our website will be okay again, then I personally I will share all the links and all the details with your certificate code in our page and group. So you don't need to think about your certificate. This is my promise to you. Thank you so much, learners. So right now we will be start our Q&A. So dear learners, it's a cordial request. If you have any question on your mind, you can ask here, or if you have some more, you can ask tomorrow also. No problem, because tomorrow our speaker will join again. So dear learners, we are waiting for your question right now. If you have any question, please ask on the comment section. So Mark, I think there is no doubt about your presentation.
I just hope somebody watch me, sir. Anyway, maybe they were thinking of some questions that can be raised. But I think by tomorrow, if there's a question, I'm more
Sir,
open to it.
one question I found that is, yeah, here is it. Why we can't copy data from Excel to SPS?
Okay. I think there is just the misunderstanding of what I'm trying to say a while ago. Actually, we can. We can copy data from Excel to SPSS, but the good thing about SPSS, it can solve directly. Unlike for Excel, you need to do some other mechanisms in order to you don't have that shortcut. No? You don't have that single click to solve for a specific statistics. Unlike for SPSS, but when you try to transfer a data from Excel to SPSS, you can. Thank you, sir. Okay, there's another question. How can we download an SPSS application? We can buy to have a premium version. But if you want to download, I think there's a 30-day trial available over the internet. So, like what I'm trying to say a while ago, towards the end, my suggestion is go over the YouTube. you can see their demonstration videos and try to click the description box of those videos that demonstrates how to use the SPSS. They provide links where you can download SPSS. Just check on the version because we have newer versions of SPSS. But even if you have the old ones, the same statistics will work for every version. Okay. Good evening, sir. What is the latest version of SPSS? I'm sorry to say I have not checked on that. I think it's around 20 plus, but my version is just on 23. And as far as I know, somebody already had the 24, 25. I just do not know. Uh, we already have the 20 plus versions. But upon checking, they just do the same. It's just the features that they differ from each other. Specifically the physical features. Okay, so actually we're going to the research already. So Sir Mark, in a research proposal, how can a statistician like you choose the right tool to use po? To tell you honestly, as a statistician, uh, I have a guide. I have that notebook that tells me which tool I'm going to apply for every research problem. So one thing I bear in my mind whenever I assist somebody for their statistical analysis is to do the right thing, to use the right statistical treatment. Otherwise, the research itself will be a disaster. Okay, so in choosing, you need to, of course, you need to go back to the guide, or you can actually go over the internet to check because statistics when used they follow a specific rule like the type of data you acquired. You can't employ chi-square when your data is on a scale basis like that, ma'am. My advice, uh, I already have my my guide eh. Okay. I have my notebook, ma'am, to help me out which tool I'm going to use.
So we don't have any question right now. We're
Okay,
just
sir.
waiting for the question. Thank you,
Thank
Marisa.
Thank you, sir. And thank you to Ma'am Mirafe Tibang for that question.
Yeah,
Yes, according to our team leader, sir, Sir Reden, for tomorrow's session, we'll be actually having output presentations of the different tools we showed since the day one.
yeah,
So if you are still interested, from AppGazer, from the chatbot, and what I presented you, the SPSS, will go present an output or sample output by tomorrow.
and definitely, sir. In January, with I think with Sir Redhan, we will design another webinar series in mathematics related to the research.
Yes, sir. We love to.
Yes, definitely, sir. We'll in maybe in January or February, we will again design a webinar series with mathematics connecting with research. So see you again, definitely. And
Okay, sir.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And dear learners, as you know that our website is in still under construction or under maintenance. So when we will be back again with our full speed, then personally, I will share all the previous links from November 1 to till date, all the links with certificate code. So you don't need to think about certificate, just keep eyes on our page and group that you can catch the offer from IGP. And at the same date, when we will publish our all previous certification link with certificate code, you can claim all the certificates at a time, no problem about your previous certificate. You don't need to think anything about IGP. IGP is always doing the best, but right now our services is not well from our end because of some technical issues actually, which is in not our totally not in our control. So at that moment, we're trying to solve all the problem, and hopefully we'll do everything within very few days. Thank you so much, and see you again tomorrow with our overview session with five speakers at the same time, same platform. Thank you again, and thank you, Sir Mark, for your time. And definitely, we will design another series in January or February. Thank you, sir.